All right, hello, good morning, and ytopp, nice to meet you. How you doing, man?
Hey, good, thanks. How are you, man?
Yeah, good, good, good. Really appreciate you joining me today, and really looking forward to discussing this amazing series that I've just been enjoying from the day you first released this one next to me, which is one of the best pieces in my collection. I just absolutely love it. And since then, you've released another nine plus the collector's edition, and just really cool like amazing series, and it's had a really good response. So yeah, let's jump in and have a chat about it. So first of
Yeah,
all, what's
well,
it called,
yeah,
and where did the idea come from, man?
yeah. Well, first, thanks for having me. This is awesome that I get to talk about it, and yeah, I've never been able to speak about my art like this, so it's really nice. Yeah, well, yeah, it's called Grey Matter. I kind of came up with the name quite late. I think I was about to upload the next day or something, and I was struggling with names because I basically had a week to create it. The In April, a guy named Taylor, he asked me to. He was curating some Melbourne artists because he had a screen in a gallery. He wanted to display some NFTs, and he asked if I could create something specifically to mint it for that, and I had a week to do it. And so for some reason I kind of had this idea in my head. Like I had those exact colors in my head for some reason. I don't know how, but I had some really saturated pinks and blues, and I had this like kind of I knew there was dripping involved, and there was a woman, and so yeah. I don't know how, but I knew that that was going to be somehow the piece that would be finished. It was just crazy, but and then so yeah, the grey matter kind of came about because of the brain fluid that's kind of leaking out of her head there. So, um,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
I
cool.
don't
Did
know.
you think it was going to be a series from the get go, or was it just a one off originally?
It, as soon as I started shading that in, where it started to get more of a three-dimensional look, I knew it would be a series. And so within that week, I actually kind of did about 60% of um, the first four in the series. So um, as soon as I finished that, I kind of like created the next four. And then because I
Yes.
wanted to make sure that when I minted the first one, I wanted to make sure that it was consistent with the series, so that like any line work or any colors or any kind of thing like that, I want to make sure that uh, after I'm into the first one, that nothing kind of significantly changed from that to the next few. So I kind of created the first four and then kind of worked them all together to make them more cohesive. So and then I
Yeah.
minted the first one. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. The colors are what really kind of jumped out at me to begin with. Like that was the absolute like crazy part that just really was so vibrant on the Twitter feed, and just the pinks, the blues, all that kind of thing. And as I saw the series progress, just seeing the color choices that you made for each one, like they're all just so striking. And we'll go through them all as we go. But I'll just pull up the next one actually, just to kind of show.
Yeah. Thanks.
Um, yeah, so a much kind of darker feel with this one, but I love the dark tones of the skin contrasted with that kind of turquoisey blue green almost, and then that dark purple. Like they're kind of unusual color combos that you wouldn't normally get, but I really love how you choose them. And I was just wondering, do you have like a method to choosing your color palettes?
Thanks. Yeah, I actually kind of, I mean, maybe it takes away a bit of the mystery, but there's a website that kind of like has some color palettes that you can kind of like look through that are kind of pre-selected and stuff like that. Um, so I kind of like looked at that website for most of it. Some of the ones in the series I really had to do on my own because it just wasn't working. But um, even like I would download like I don't know how many. I would try probably 10 to 15 different color palettes on the same
Yeah, well,
image, and then try because I don't know. Sometimes you just feel what works for that specific image, and some of the ones that you see on one were originally for another image. So I kind of swapped them around, and um, Yeah, it was really kind of difficult. That was really difficult because once I get choices, I get kind of like obsessive about, like, I need to find out right now which one works. So I'll do them all at once and then do different combinations. And like even with the one color palette, like which color goes in which part of the body. So I was swapping that around. So there's like 16 different combinations, I guess you can do with each one. Well, I don't know if the math is right, but yeah, you can do like all the, like the colors of the drip could have been the background. So I was playing around with that as well. And yeah, that was kind of stressful for me because I wanted to make sure that it was the right one for each image. And yeah, it took a while actually.
And where did the idea for like this half melted head or face kind of come from? Like, I love the idea that this is the brain matter, but I don't know where it's coming from. And it's kind of creepy that she's got a spoon as well, almost like she's gonna, scoop out her own grey matter in a way. I don't know, but where did this kind of idea come from?
Yeah. So I was all of my work starts with like a model, and I think 99.9% of the time it's a female model. And then I was looking through. I kind of looked through reference and stock photos and stuff, and I found a photo set with these models in kind of with like a harshly lit kind of like a lot of shadows, but they had these wide brimmed hats that kind of like cut their faces, like they obscured their faces. And originally I was going to have the hats in the photo for the first one, but then I think the darker part of me was like, no, what if I cut the head out? And then and because I knew I wanted drips, and then I thought, oh well, what if I do that? I just used the kind of the silhouette of where the face would end because the hat was obscuring it, and I just took that and then I kind of sculpted a shape around it. And yeah, that's how it started. It was just kind of pure just coincidence. I had no idea that it would happen until I saw it, which is how most of my stuff works actually, to be honest. So yeah,
that's really cool. I can see it now. That idea of that big wide brim hat with the cutoff. That's probably why it kind of looks familiar in a way, but it's still kind of strange because you've taken the hat away and replaced it.
Yeah, but and then like it started like that, and then once I kind of went along, I didn't need to have that reference anymore. I went by the pose of like the head and the body, and then I was like, I can just cut out half of the head. But originally, I kind of needed the hat to orient myself in how I would do it.
Yeah. Let's go to the next one. This one's gorgeous. Hey, really nice. Really nice. I just love how the skin in the background complement. I can see some of the color choices. Yeah, I was really like coming from other work that you do as well.
Yeah, I think it's all pretty consistent with my vibrant color. There's definitely some color choices though, like that one there. I've never used those kind of shades. Like I really like the shade of saturated, like reddish orange. It kind of it's a bit skin, almost like I don't know. I just really like the way that like worked, and the shading of that one's really simple. And yeah, I hadn't really done this kind of style before. Actually, I'd never done this style before. It's most of the stuff previously was like painted, very messy, very abstract. This is very clean and precise, and so it was nice actually to see me be able to do that because I did like that style, but I never did it. So
yeah, that's it. While the colors are kind of transferring across, like it's such a different style. This is a much more. I guess like some of your other ones feel very. Even I don't know if they're done digitally or with actual paint, but they feel very painted, if you know what I mean. They feel very hands-on, whereas these feel very precise and very kind of clean and crisp. And I was actually you go.
No, you go. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I was quite... No, you go. There's a bit of a delay.
They are all painted. My actual oil painting skills aren't quite as good, so they are digital.
Yeah, cool. I've forgotten what I was going to say now, but
That's right.
Yeah, no, just that. The fact that the other works all seem very kind of hands on, but the fact that
Yeah.
these are so crisp.
Yeah, thanks. I really took a long time to get the. It wasn't just like, oh, I just do the line work and that's it. There was, I mean, most of them were 80 done for until June. I think they were all mostly done, and the last month in June I was cleaning lines and like touching up edges and doing the shading. It was all like most of it was refining, which is um, yeah, I was really trying to make sure it was clean and like if I had to join lines together and I was trying to smooth them out. And I tried new techniques I've never tried before because I never used a smoothing kind of. You can like add like a smoothing kind of not effect, but it's like a tool that you can add to a brush. And
Yeah,
I'd never done that before because I never needed to. I wanted that messy thing, but yeah, this was like to get those clean lines. It was something I transferred from Procreate because you can actually do it in Procreate quite easily, but I didn't know you could do it in Photoshop. And
yeah,
yeah,
okay.
it was really fun to do it. Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that sometimes people don't realize, like when they look at something that like this that's clean and looks, I mean, for want of a better word, like simple, it is kind of
Mm.
understanding the work that goes into making something look simple. Like it's actually a lot more work, I find, to simplify things and to clean them up and to really get the essence of what you're trying to get across, rather than just kind of putting it all in and going, yeah, that's it, you know? And I think something like this is deceptively simple. Like you kind of look at it and go, oh, yeah, there's four colors and it's a person and the idea. But really, when you kind of look into the detail and the poses and the proportions and the color choices and everything, like I know just from chatting to you during that whole process, like you really kind of poured yourself into this one. You really wanted
Yeah.
to make it just right. You know, every time I spoke to you, you were like, oh man, I'm just not sure about this or that. And I'm trying this and I'm trying that. And it was so cool to see
Yeah.
just the amount of effort that goes into all of this as well.
Thanks. Yeah, I was, and thanks for all your like feedback and help with it, by the way. And there's another friend of mine, Aston, who I've never met as well, who got me into NFTs. Hey, Aston, if you're watching this, man. I've been bugging him since the start, and yeah, I mean, just I get, like I said, I get pretty obsessive about trying everything to make sure it works. And like what you said about it being simple, this was actually so much more difficult than anything I've done. And I think part of it was because with the messy stuff, I can kind of almost, not that they're mistakes, but I can hide anything that looks like if it's messy and if it kind of like, expressive, it kind of looks like it was meant to be there if it's a bit rough. But if you got something clean like this, you can't really have that element because then it will look like a mistake. And I think it's easy to hide that stuff in a messy painting, even though I really do like looking on my more painted stuff and like zoom in and clean stuff up. It's just kind of different. And so yeah, it was so much more difficult to do this stuff in a very surprising way. I was much more stressed out painting this because it took a lot longer as well, and I really focused on making sure it looked absolutely perfect, and it doesn't. And there's stuff I see now, I'm like, oh, I should have done that, but
No, it is perfect, man. Don't say that. Like seriously,
thanks.
it really is like just gorgeous. Each one after the other, and I love how like even though there's 10 and it's the same kind of idea with each one, like it's the same elements essentially, but each one has such a unique character. And I mean, other than the one I have, I'm just not quite sure which one is my absolute favorite. This is coming close. I really love the colors in this. This is like my favorite color in the world. I call it grapefruit. It's just like it reminds me of grapefruit, and it's like sunset has it, and it's just kind of shades of like yellow, orange, pink, and I don't know why, but ever since I was young, I've just loved that kind of color. So yeah, I love how this one's
Yeah,
come out too.
I love that too. I don't normally use that kind of orange either. Actually, I don't normally use most of the colors I use, but yeah, I really love that one as well.
Yeah, we've just got a Aston's actually watching, so there you go. He's giving you a good
Oh,
day, and
hey man.
we've got Kira and we've got Illy, and we've got Codeine Snaps. Codeine Snaps? Codeine Snaps. And yeah, thanks for watching, everyone.
Oh,
Thanks for tuning
sweet.
in.
Hey, everyone.
What's the next one we got in this series? Oh, okay. I just want to say congratulations to whoever bought this one before me, because this possibly is my favorite of the series. I just think this one is so striking. I think it's the front on look, the colors again, just the pose. And isn't it amazing? Like, even though you're missing half the head, there's such an intensity in the glare, if you know what I mean, even though there's no eyes.
Yeah,
Just that kind of, it's really confronting, like looking at you. Love what you've done.
I actually wondered. I thought the same thing. It was so weird that, like, because originally I did want to keep the eye, especially in the first one. That I like. I wanted to keep the eye because I really liked. I don't know. The eye is such a, it is a window to the soul, and it really expresses a lot of what you don't see just through the eyes. But yeah, somehow it still works. Like, you don't need the eyes almost, which is kind of contrary to a lot of what I believed about humans, that you can't really trust someone if you don't see their eyes, but you see a lot through that, and that's very surprising and really cool.
Yeah, you really do get a lot. Do you have an idea of what each of these are thinking or processing at the time, or communicating? Is there a story behind that?
I feel like there is. I mean, I probably couldn't articulate it, but there is. I do kind of, when I, create them, I do have like a feeling in mind, and that kind of, I think, is the color choices are affected by that. The way like that feels, like it doesn't feel like a bright and colorful pose. It feels like a very intense and powerful one, so that it kind of needed that bold color. And I went through a lot of color combinations on that one. That was, as I mentioned this to you personally, but that was the most difficult one for me. That the way that head is now, like the contours and the lines, it was a lot more simple originally. And it just wasn't working, and the spoons weren't working, and the drips on the spoons, and nothing. And like up until a few days before, I was really struggling with, like, I could have submitted it and it would have been, fine. But I couldn't accept, there was something like not right about it. And so I kept working on it, and finally something broke through just when I started to like create the levels on the head, like the different kind of, the way it kind of trickles down, that kind of effect. That was when it kind of broke through, and the shading of it as well was really fun, because each one has their own shading style as well. I tried to make the shading style reflect the piece, so that one's very smooth and very like blended together and almost realistic, where some of them, like the red one or the other purple one, it's very simple and almost cell shaded, and just simple shadows. Like that one's
Like
kind of in between,
yeah.
but that one, there's no like blending or anything. It's very like the shadows have their own shapes.
Very much that cell shading. I think that is something that really brings that other one, just that intensity again, is you've actually got the darker tones kind of dominating the skin rather than the lighter tones, and the lighter tones are kind of that picking up the highlights. I don't know if there's something in that maybe just creates a bit more mystery or something like that to it, but it's stunning.
Well, that one actually has that's, I think, one of two that actually has a highlight added to it. So originally I didn't want to add too much. It was only shadows that I added to the color. So like the color of the skin you can see is up the top in the corner, like on the color palette. So it's so then the spoon color is the second one, but the top one is the skin color. So originally I would only add a shadow to the skin and keep, so you would have just the skin and the shadow color. But for this one, I felt like it needed a highlight color as well to like emphasize the contrast. So that and another one are the only ones that I actually added a highlight to it, instead of the highlight being the skin color and the shadow being the shadow.
Mm.
Yeah,
I
that
just
makes
want to
sense.
say, like, I'm sorry for everyone who's watching this on a phone or a small screen, but like having it like this next to you is like, these are stunning. These are absolutely stunning. And I definitely like, I just have my one on in the office during the day. And it's just people walk in and like, ooh, what's that? You know, it's very, very striking when you see it. So I highly recommend everyone goes out and buys a massive TV to show their
Yeah,
NFTs on.
yeah,
Oh, I like this one too. I like them all. I'm just so easy to please. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I like it. But I do like
thanks.
this one. There's kind of like a real don't care kind of attitude about this one, right? Like take it or leave it
Mm,
in the pose, I think,
yeah,
which is really nice.
yeah. I, I thought they were kind of more fun and playful, which is why I chose the colors. Kind of that, yeah, fun poppy candy kind of um, look. But I think one of the things I liked about this was the negative space. This one has the most kind
Mm.
of negative space out of all of them, and I don't know. I just liked having something very different composition wise. Where the other ones are mostly very big and taking up most of the canvas. This one was, yeah, a little bit different. I try to make them all different, and I really like just playing with the composition on this one.
Where's the spoon coming from? Is someone holding it? Like, is there a story behind any of that either, or is like, will this expand into
Uh,
something bigger?
uh, I let well, I don't know, but I think I will potentially try to expand on that. Um, yeah, I can't really explain it, to be
Mm.
honest. Um, I don't really know. I have like I kind of have ideas about it, um, but I like the idea of there being something like bigger and something mysterious about it. And so there, with the bonus edition at the end, there is like the hands,
Mm.
adding the human element, or almost like a godlike, hands dripping down onto like a person. I like that, and I think that'll be fun to play with in like series two, if and when I make that.
Yeah, I don't want to put you
Yeah,
on the spot, but yeah, like
no,
I think
no,
you touched on it there when you said it's kind of mysterious. Like that, it definitely throws up a lot of questions, and I think that's what I find like really intriguing about this series is where's it coming from? Who is it? Who are these
yeah,
people? Like, what is the grey matter? Um, yeah, and I like how you can
yeah.
kind of put your own spin on it. This is a really nice
Mm.
contrast of colors with the gold and the red.
Yeah, that one's the most. I think that's the most different into like just that's such an odd color combination for me. That was
Mm.
so just having the red contrasting with such a desaturated background was really interesting. Um, I think I showed you that one when it first. I just realized the sun's completely blocking my face. Uh, yeah,
Oh, you're getting crazy lens
I'm
flares.
getting worse.
You're putting
Yeah.
effects on your got your lens flare package.
I'll
Someone's
fix it
saying,
anyway.
oh, Codeine Snaps is saying we should have forks and butter knives in the next series.
Yeah,
Just
I
have a
thought
whole
about
breakfast suite
forks.
of grey matter.
I thought about forks. Yeah, I really liked spoons. Was I actually tried hands first, and that seemed a bit complicated for what I was doing to take away from the person, from the model.
Mm.
But yeah, there's room to. I have some ideas.
I like the color combo here. It reminds me of like a flag or something like that from I don't know, like Central America or somewhere. Kind of got
Mm.
that color scheme. But
Yeah, they're very
yeah,
like
no,
almost not primary colors, but like
yeah.
just yeah, very like saturated ends of the spectrum.
Mm. So, how did you get started in the world of art? Was you like, is NFTs kind of your first foray into art, or have you been doing art outside of all this for a while?
how I got started into art was well, I've been drawing since I was a kid, um,
Mm.
ever since I can remember. But I wasn't always that very good at it compared to other people, I guess. And then in high school, I started to learn Photoshop, and I wasn't really like popular, but I wasn't unpopular. But so I had friends and stuff, but I would usually hang out on my own. I was kind of a bit of a loner in that way, and I would often stay at home while my friends were out drinking and doing other stuff. I was a bit innocent, so I would just I was obsessed with Photoshop tutorials, and I would just do them all day. And then it led me into graphic design, so I did that. I studied that. I didn't work in the industry very long because I didn't actually like how corporate it was. I wanted to create like band artwork and paint stuff, but I actually couldn't paint. I didn't know how to do it, especially digital. And so just by chance, my girlfriend at the time bought me a Wacom tablet, and I had no idea how to use it, and it frustrated the hell out of me. But when I found speed painting videos, like back in the day, that was huge. You know, someone would speed paint a character or something, and I was like, then from then on, I was obsessed, and I practiced all the time. I bought like tutorials from artists. I did mentorships. That was kind of my life for a while, and then eventually, like I was getting better every day, but I never was at the point where I could. I was always copying things. I was never like creating my own stuff. And then it wasn't until I traveled on my own for a year, and I took my iPad with me, that I started to create, because I was so frustrated with Procreate. I couldn't use it properly. I couldn't express myself the way I wanted to normally. And so then I kind of just would draw stuff that would be abstract and messy and nothing. But it would be kind of more an expression of like a true expression of what I was feeling at the time. And so from then on, I started to create more what I felt and less just pretty pictures that had really nothing to do with my emotional state. And then I could kind of combine the two. Now I'm at a place where I can create my own stuff from like how I feel, but also look at a reference and look at and use photos and create like nice colors and stuff. Yes, and then NFTs actually. Sorry, I think, am I answering the question? I forgot.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, Aston actually got me into NFTs. I think he messaged me 2 or 3 times, and he's like, "Hey man, you should get into NFTs." And I was like, "What's that?" And then he explained it to me. I was like, "Oh yeah, maybe I'll think about it." And then when I was in quarantine, I came back home in January this year, and I was in quarantine. And he said, "Hey man, you should get into NFTs." And I was like, "All right, I got nothing else to do." So I looked it up. I looked into it, and that's just when Nifty Gateway, I think, did the Beeple thing, not the big one, but they did. I think the one where it was like $6 million or something. And I was like, "Oh wow, okay." And actually, Nifty Gateway was like asking for people to apply. So I even sent a video applying for Nifty Gateway, and they got back to me saying like, no. But that was how early it was. So, and now, yeah, that's how I got into NFTs, just like through Aston. Actually, he kind of just convinced me, and it was a long road
Aston.
to
Good
get
man.
to. Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate you pushing in that direction.
Yeah, I would not have. It would have taken me a lot longer. I would not be where I am right now if it wasn't for that. So yeah, definitely, very much appreciate it.
Yeah, wow. Just something you said during that was about how you got to the point where you could convey emotion and what you were feeling rather than just kind of copying stuff. When you do that, how do you turn a feeling into a picture? Like, do you kind of take inspiration from what you're seeing around you, or is it something that you can kind of conjure up or picture like this? Or what's the process for you to get that emotion down?
Usually I start every painting with a photo reference of a model. Sometimes before I go in, I'll have a color image, or I'll have some sort of like vague like sort of vague like image or whatever of something that I want to put in. But normally I'm like looking through it for a model that it kind of has the same expression or mood that I'm feeling, or in that range. And then from there, I'll just put it in Photoshop, and then I'll just kind of like paint color, and then add some images like flowers or a skull or some like I don't know, whatever elements I feel like. And then it's more about color actually initially. Now that I think about it, because I've been thinking more about my process. It's usually quite unconscious, but I'm pretty sure that it's very much about color and lighting at the start. And then and I kind of just take it from there and see like, oh, these colors work well together. And then, oh, this is a really nice mood. I'll add some elements here for like composition. I'm thinking about composition as well, but it's mostly about the colors as kind of a big thing for the way I convey the emotion. For gray matter though, that was much more precise and like thought out, because I can't like be messy, and like no matter how I was feeling, I couldn't really put that in as much into the image because of I needed to be clean. And like so sometimes when I had enough of like being clean and precise, I would go and paint something like really messy and just all really like painted and dark, which like helped me like get that out of my system. But yeah, this stuff was more like, the gray matter stuff was more like conveying the emotion of what was in the image. But whereas my other works, like on foundation and stuff, was more, yeah, I just like feel something, and then I never plan anything. I really can't, even if I try. So it's more just going with the flow and just seeing how it works.
Yeah, now that I think of it, I guess when you said you start with a model, I don't think I've seen one of your works without a person in it. I think they all do, don't they? You're not like, you don't go down into landscapes or abstracts or things like that. They're very much based around a person, and I love the kind of emotions you get across with that, and the states of mind almost as well that come across.
Yeah, thanks. There was some I bought. I minted on OpenSea a while ago that were the ones I made while I was traveling, and they were kind of abstract in a way that, and almost more with a male figure, which was me, but in a way that it's just like a head and a body, but like I guess a bit more kind of male structured in the face. That was abstract, yeah. And that was very much like, that's the kind of the purest that I got with in terms of like expression, because I really just, the great thing about the iPad is I can just get it out, and I can really like use my hand to like, you know, sketch and push it down onto the iPad. And that was the only time that I haven't really used a model. The rest of the time, yeah,
it's amazing how the technology, like the iPads and stuff, have just become such a part of creativity. You know, like I remember when I got my first iPad, it was the iPad 2 years ago, and I make music as a hobby, and the fact that you could download all these synths and you could play them with your hands on the screen, but also you could manipulate the sound by just kind of pushing or tilting the thing, and it just kind of opened up this whole world of this really tactile thing that, you know, up until then you couldn't really pick up a synthesizer and kind of wobble it to do what you wanted to do, but here you could all of a sudden. And I guess with drawing and visual art and things like that as well, just these tools have really opened up new ways to create, and the ideas that are coming out are just awesome.
Yeah, I think it would not have been, I think I really would not be where I am in terms of my style if I didn't have that chance to get really frustrated with not being able to make what I normally made. And it really let me just, and I made some dark stuff at that time, and like I got some messages like saying, "Hey, are you all right?" Which was nice, but like it was really it was really just like me, that frustration. I was also like, I mean, it combined with that and being lonely, because traveling alone for like, you know, I think it was like almost 8 months on my own. I was just like, it gets to you, and there was a way to like just put that onto canvas. But yeah, if it wasn't for that, I really don't know where I would be. So I'm really grateful for those experiences and the iPad as well. Even though I don't use it for most of my stuff, it's all Photoshop.
Whereabouts did you go on your travels?
I went basically all around Europe. I think I went to most countries, like all of the Western countries. I went east a bit to like Hungary, Budapest, down to Albania as well, and Croatia and Bulgaria and all that. The Balkans. I did. So I guess it's not Eastern Europe. It's kind of like Central. And I went, Spain, Portugal, France, Germany, all of those places. And then I lived in Amsterdam for a bit, but I had to come home because of COVID.
Yeah.
So
I mean, as an Australian, like I love when we go over to Europe because it's just such a contrast to the country that we're from. With everything's new, other than the natural environment and the indigenous culture that's kind of around that, but all the kind of built structures, they're all brand new pretty much. And when you kind of touch down in Europe and you kind of walk through these town squares in Spain, or these kind of arcades in Paris, or these kinds of things, and just kind of go, wow, this is hundreds of years of people walking through these places and using these buildings, and you can kind of see how the function of the layout has evolved over time. And I don't know. I find that really inspiring as well for creative things. Like whenever I travel, I've always got a camera, like a video camera with me.
And nice.
I guess in the same way you have an iPad, and you just find that the things that you capture and the things that stand out to you are very different to what stands out to you at home. And that thing of being alone again, it's almost nice to have that creative tool as a bit of almost like a protective blanket in a way. Do you know what I mean? Like you've got something to do where you're not just kind of like, oh, I'm just a foreigner in a foreign country by myself, but like it gives you that, oh, I've got something to do today, going to go take pictures or draw a picture or study something.
I mean, the history alone, like I would go, like even just go into Central Europe, and like the Balkans, like a lot of Aussies, by the way, in like Albania, Croatia, Bosnia, like so many Aussies. And I think that was because it's cheap and it's kind of like really good weather, like down near Greece. I mean, the beach is all that Mediterranean, really clear water. And so it's cheap beaches. That's kind of like perfect combination for Aussies. And then, so crazy amount of Australians in like November, December. Like I would bump into Aussies around because it's kind of like you go either from the north, from Croatia down to like Albania, or you go the other way around. But you just bump into the same people. But yeah, I would actually, when I was traveling, I kind of developed this habit of like going to a cafe every morning, no matter which city I was in, and start sketching people. And I would try and sketch them for a couple of reasons very quickly, because so they wouldn't catch me staring at them. I would try and like get their pose and then look away and just like sketch how I remembered it. Or I have to glance back a couple of times, but in 20 seconds or 5 seconds, I would try and get the pose if they were walking, and kind of develop this. I got really good at it, and it was just kind of a fun thing to just go to a cafe every morning and sit in the sunshine and just draw people, and that was really fun.
Yeah, nice. There's a freedom that comes with traveling that you just can't get at home, isn't there? Where you kind of like, you can do all those things that at home you've always got an excuse not to, like, oh yeah, but I've got to do this thing today, or that person might be there, or whatever it is. And but when you're alone in a foreign country, you do have that freedom to just be like, no, I'll go and draw in a cafe every morning. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think have we got to the end of I think that's the end of the series. Is this the last one? This one?
Yeah, that one. That's the number 10. Yeah. That one's much more of a. I like the idea of it was kind of this army kind of color, like the I don't know why I had this image. I don't even know if it's accurate, but the kind of the tin boxes that they used to carry, like the old I don't know what you used to put in them. I just remember these images of like in these like war movies or something. This red kind of green, army green, like tin boxes that would have like maybe I don't know, like cigars or bullets or I don't know, just a
Oh, like the army
little.
rations, like they'd send you out with
Yeah, maybe.
yeah, like your
Yeah,
socks and your razor and your yeah, I think I know what you
yeah,
mean. Yeah,
yeah.
from old
Just like
movies. Yeah.
something like that, and those colors took ages to get to. It was originally very pink and green, like saturated green, and I already had a lot of that, so I thought something different. And then
Hmm.
the shading, just kind of like I figured it just the cross hatching line work just kind of worked really well. And it's the only one that if anyone buys that one, they get a screen print because it's there's no complex shading. It's all color. It's all one color. So that's going to be. I mean, screen prints for a one-off is quite expensive. So, but I really wanted
Mm.
to offer that value for the number 10, and the color swatches are on the right side as well. So
Yeah, I
it's
noticed
the
that it's the only
most.
one, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. So yeah,
So
that was
just yeah, let people know. So if they buy one of the NFTs, they'll get a paper print, right? Except for this one, which they get
yeah,
a screen print. And
yeah, that's right.
if you collect 3 of the NFTs, as someone already has, I think, haven't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Then there's the collector's edition, which is stunning as well.
Thanks. Yeah, that's so actually I mean it's not going to be, you know, I just thought I'd so this you get this print
Hang on, I'll just put you
it's
full
actually
screen.
oh yeah. So this is like one of the test prints I got from Milk Bar. Shout out to Milk Bar. It's actually 100% cotton, this one, so it's really really nice. It's
Wow.
310 GSM. Um, you can see how big it is. It's like I can't even show it. So yeah, that's really like stunning quality. So you can choose. Yeah, every collector will get one of those. It'll be signed with your name, and the QR code will link to the NFT as well. So it'll be. I mean, I don't know if it's I thought it'd be kind of cool to just like be able to pull up your phone and like view the NFT or however you do that. And then
Yeah, nice.
the number 10, you can either choose to get one of those, still incredibly high quality, or a screen print, which I thought would be something quite special, since it's a much more kind of complicated, expensive process, and I thought it'd be just something really awesome to have. And you also get a print for the collected edition as well, which is a meter wide. So yeah, it's
Oh,
pretty
for
big.
real?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
it's a meter wide.
the landscape. Yeah,
Yeah,
with the hands and everything.
yeah,
They look amazing. Yeah,
yeah,
they look
yeah.
very cool.
Thanks. Yeah,
How many are left? How many have gone so far?
there's 5 left, so 5 have gone, and 2
Oh,
collector's
nice,
editions left. Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
And they're
It's
on Rareable. I've put the link in the description on this video as well. So if anyone wants to go check out the
cool.
full collection, it's on Rareable. Indeed.
Yeah, yeah. It was kind of crazy to see how I never expected them all to sell straight away, so I was never like. But it's even just to sell 5 is it's really yeah, kind of very. I feel very grateful that even one sold. And by the way, thank you so much for. I just got to say thank you for getting the first one. You really inspired me to like push to get these done. To push to the level that I didn't expect it to go this far, and like that motivation that you gave me from purchasing the first one like meant the absolute world to me. So I really appreciate that. You gave
Thanks,
me a lot
man.
of
I
hope and
appreciate
belief in
it.
myself. Yeah.
Oh, look, like I said, I just saw it, and it was a funny story. Like, I saw it on Twitter, and I'd been seeing it pop up like day after day, and it was just one of those images that really stuck in my mind. And I remember you were on some thread and said, "Oh, look, I've got this NFT for sale," and I remember writing you a message and just going, "Oh, look." help me find some ETH, like just help me summon some ETH out of somewhere and I'll get it. And then like literally like the next day, I think like an airdrop happened from some random DeFi thing I got involved in like a year before. And I was like, well, there it is. Like, so I went
Wow.
and bought it. And then, yeah, we
Yeah.
got chatting and it was just, like I said, it just really struck me from the get go. Just, it stood
Mm.
out. It's just different. There's so many, there's a lot of unique stuff in the space, but there is also a lot of repetitive kind of motifs and ideas and concepts. And I mean, I know back at the beginning of the year, the astronauts and all that kind of thing were,
Yeah.
and that kind of foil kind of look that was everywhere. But something like this, I just hadn't seen anything like it before, and it was intriguing and colorful, and I was just really looking forward to displaying it at scale as well. I think it's one of those things that just this really does do it justice, and I mean even bigger would be amazing, but
Mm.
yeah, it just really, really works in this purely digital space, which I think is a big
Yeah.
part of this whole NFT thing as well. Like as much as we have like the physical prints and minted physical artworks, photos or animations of, I think the digital native stuff is actually really interesting to see as well.
Yeah, I'm used to like print. I used to a lot before this. I worked in CMYK, which is, if anyone knows, is like the color palette is just not the same. So the fact that I can make I can display exactly what I make is just it's amazing. It's like the best feeling.
Yeah, awesome. Well, is there anything else
Yeah.
you want to chat about before we go?
Uh, no, I think we pretty much covered everything. I just want to say thanks if anyone watches this, anyone who's supported my stuff, or shared or liked or bought anything. Like I never ever expected to like have any success like this, even and as small as it is now. Just like yeah, really appreciate everyone's support, and like I'm just grateful to be able to make art that like people enjoy and like enough to buy it. Yeah, I'm just it feels amazing. So thanks.
Yeah, the communities that have sprung up around, various things, like there's the Australian Artist Discord, and there's the NFT kind of Twitter chats, and all these things, and all these different places where we get together. And I think that's just one of the best parts of this whole thing as well, and such a supportive environment. And
Yeah,
everyone's just so
absolutely.
happy to see other people succeed as well, which I think is really nice. We kind of celebrate each other's
Yeah,
success. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what you do next and where you go. And yeah, I'll be following with a very keen eye. And yeah, wishing you all the best with it, man.
yeah, awesome.
And
Thank you.
just appreciate your time
Cheers.
today.
Thanks very
And
much.
thanks for having a chat. And it's really good to kind of catch up
Yeah,
and go in depth on this series with you.
yeah. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. I love talking, and yeah, nice to meet you finally.
After all this time. Cool, man. All right. Well, you enjoy the rest
Yeah,
of your day.
yeah,
And thanks to everyone for watching wherever you are. Like, enjoy your day, night, morning. And we'll see you on the next one. And go check out this collection on Rareable.
yeah.
Cool.
Thanks
See you
very
later.
much. See ya.